Check out the newest offering for plastic bases from Games Workshop.
Spiking bits.
Today we've got the new Sector Mechanicus bases from Games Workshop. What's up, everybody? I'm Baer. Taking a look at these new bad boys here. Now, this is a $35 offering from Games Workshop, and it only comes in one size. One size fits most, I guess. So you got two 65 mil rounds, which is kind of a new size. Remember, that used to be 60 mil. I don't know what happened there, but it says 65. Questioning it. 40 mil, 10 40 mil bases, which traditionally was your Terminator size, and 40 32 millimeter bases. Now, there are no 25 millimeter options, so I guess those don't exist anymore. I don't know. This is what we got this week. There might be more in the future. There might not be. All I know is this is where we're at. So, that being said, you can check out the back for all of the designs here. Now, in the past, I've reviewed these. You know, they've been kind of hit or miss. The first batch that came out with, I was rather disappointed with, and I did not pull any punches in my review on. I felt like the detail was flat. I feel like what was pictured was not the product that was inside, and the actual contents. Now, it didn't say contents may vary. It didn't say any of that on the packaging, which I felt like was a little in bad taste, so to speak. But, you know, as we went through and we saw the character bases upgrades come out, they got better and better in quality. Now we've got the new Sector Mechanicus terrain that came out that is also made in China as well. And it's been getting increasingly better in quality. But remember, this is still not your multi-part plastics, your stuff that you get tactical squads or, you know, any of your troopers in, or any of your clan pack miniatures. This is a thicker, more durable, less detailed material. But what I like about these miniatures is, or these bases, I guess they're technically miniatures, is that the designers seem to have taken the material that they'd be working with into account when designing them. So what you see on this package definitely is what the material contents are on the inside quality wise, because there's recesses, so they didn't have to worry about making the detail flatter because it would be like on the single plane. There's multiple planes because the detail is actually cut into the bases themselves. So while it appears detailed because there is depth to it, it is not as detailed as something we come to expect from, say, a tactical marine with an Aquila on his chest. But that being said, they modeled it accordingly and designed it accordingly. I hope I'm getting my point across, because I seem like I'm making sense to myself, and I feel like I'm not trying to be overly negative here, but I'm also trying to educate folks as to the quality of the contents inside, which we're looking at right here. Now you can see there's two identical sprues for each. You've got two identical sprues at 32 and two of the 40s. And actually, this being 65 millimeter has piqued my interest, so I'm going to grab a Dreadnought real quick and see which this Dreadnought is a 60 mil base, to see if that's a typo. So I think that was a typo, because this is definitely a 60 mil base, and this is what the packaging says is a 65 millimeter base right there. So I don't know what that's all about, but we'll just move on from there and just say, hey, chalk it up to a little typo right there. Don't know what that's all about. Anywho, so here we go. Let's zoom in on this 32 millimeter bases so we can talk more about this. So like I was saying, you can tell that the detail, the material still is not as detailed as one would expect, but because there is depth cut into here, it appears to be more detailed, which I like, because they're working with the limits of the material, but also not putting something on here that is so detailed that when they press it, or excuse me, when they injection mold it, that it's going to appear flat and disappointing. Also, you know, if you take a look at what's on, well, let's just go with an example here for what they say is 65 millimeters, which we know is not the case right there. You can tell just looking at it, that is literally the same base. Like, there is no question in my mind, that is literally the same product painted up right here. This is not a master, or not a photo kind of edited kind of document here that looks better than what the real product is, which was what we saw, to the best of my knowledge, in my visual observances on the first batch of products that came out. And actually, I was accused of being too negative on that review. And you know what? I'm just going to tell you how it is. I did. And now we're seeing products like this come out that seem to be designed within the limitations of the material. And I am very pleased with this. And I think Games Workshop did a great job. Value-wise, there was never a question with any of these base products. I mean, $35 for this amount of bases is bananas. I think it is very good quality-wise when you consider the resin is a lot more expensive. However, they are more detailed. But, I mean, it's a lot easier to work with plastic bases than it is retail. If I have my preference, I'm going to work with plastic all day, every day. Unfortunately, Forge World doesn't come in plastic. I mean, they have some pretty dope stuff. So eventually you got to hobby YOLO and get out there and work with that resin, right? So anyways, there's the 32 mil base. We're not going to look at that other sprue. Here is the 40 mil bases with a couple of extra 32 millimeters, and also the 65, which I believe is just a typo, and 60, and the little accessory bits right there that you can see, boop, 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 are right there. So there's a couple of extra bases, or no, excuse me, those actually can go on bases to make them more three-dimensional and be like some control surfaces, or I don't even know, little stop signs. Maybe one's a trash can. Maybe you put your cigarettes out on this thing. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a parking meter. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think they're cool. I think this kit, if you've been on the fence about these bases, this kit is probably worth picking up and buying for sure. It seems to be a pretty good quality, and hey, who doesn't like industrial bases, right? I mean, that's all day, every day. That's kind of like the universal backdrop for any miniatures out there when it comes to the warhammers of the 40K. So if you like all of our video features, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you can be one of the first people to comment on our video when we post them up. And if you'd like to support us over on Patreon and get a monthly box of swag delivered to your door, and we also have a quarterly mini army options as well, head on over to patreon.com/spikybits. And last but not least, head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.